Hello, welcome back to Graceful Embroidery, and we're going to do some embroidery today with another one of the daily freebies. Now, what I'm going to do, what I've done already actually, that's what I need to explain, is that I've combined a few of this freebies. I've made a nice curve and we're going to embroider it around the neckline of one of my favourite t-shirts. This is the Husqvarna 240 by 150 metallic hoop, magnetic. And the lovely thing about these magnetic hoops is that Husqvarna have these guides, and I know other companies have them as well, which help you hold the t-shirt out of the way so that you have a more successful stitch out. This is the stabilizer, and it's Sulky Sticky Plus. So you use the grid to cut it out, peel it off, and attach it to your hoop. When it comes to embroidering t-shirts, there are just so many stabilizers out there. When I first did it, I used this stabilizer and I was successful, so I've stayed with it. Now, if you look very carefully, we've got 4 lumps, and they show us where the centres on each side are. And as you see, I'm using the grid of my June Tailor to get that all nicely positioned. Let's get rid of the paper. Now, the other big thing that you need to do when you are embroidering on t-shirts is that you also need some water-soluble stabilizer like this to sit on top of the fabric to prevent the stitches from sinking into the t-shirt. You just get a better result. Now let me show you what I've done. I've taken the t-shirt and I've found the centre neck by matching up these 2 seams each side there, and I've also found the centre across and at the bottom, and you can see a very faint mark that I've made with my sew line pen. Alright, and then I also took a rule from the underarm to the underarm so that I got a line across. You can see there's a line across there as well. Now, I've got a confession to make. The first time I tried to embroider a t-shirt, I tried to do it by going into the t-shirt through the neck, if that makes sense. And I thought, oh dear, I'm only going to ever be able to do small embroidery, so it's very important, don't go in by the neck. Now I'm going to hoop it up. I wouldn't do my outline alignment stitches on this type of stabilizer because it's very papery. It may cut them. I may try that out another time. But what I have done is I've taken this to my machine and I've found out the 4 corners that the design lies in, and that gives me a good idea. So the design comes down round like this because these are the 4 corners. Right, now you can see how this all goes together. I have not put a fabric one up there, but these will hold the t-shirt out of the way. And I mean, I know that I often leave my embroidery, but I don't think I'll be leaving this one. But you can see how nicely the t-shirt has attached to this sticky, and this is the important line because I made sure it was in the right place down here. So hopefully it will be nicely aligned. The other thing to try is when you've actually done your markings is perhaps to print off the design and make sure you print it off at its 100% size and make a little cutout and stick it on, lining it all up and put the t-shirt on. Now a lot of people say this, especially if you're doing an embroidery on the left or the right side, and I forget which is the correct side, but sometimes it's good to actually see where you've placed it. Now I think that's all ready for the water-soluble stabiliser, which just goes over the top. Now this will pucker, but it doesn't matter because it's just protecting it. It's just making everything stitch out a lot better. I've lost my scissors now. I really thought when my Epic was, my Designer 2, my Epic 2 was being serviced, that I'd love all the extra space. But it hasn't quite worked out that way. And I should just hold that in place, and obviously when I do my basting box, that will hold it in all correctly. Oh, I must admit, last time I did a t-shirt, I used this ordinary top stitch needle, which I tend to use for most of my embroidery. But I'm going to use a Jersey Ballpoint Schmetz 70 by over 10. And when I do this, when I use something different, I always leave the needles somewhere prominent so that I'm reminded that I've got a different needle in here, so that I don't blindly go stitching something else out in with the wrong needle. Right, everything's all fixed in position. I am going to change the colours. What a surprise. You never do that, Hazel. Now is a good time to check your alignment. Make sure that it looks as if it's not crooked and that it's in the middle. So looking at the distance between here and making sure it's the same. And remember, looking down on a thing is always much better. So we need to bring it forward, and now I'm going to have to move the camera. There we are. Now I can stand at the side and have a look at that, and that's good. I'm pleased with that. Okay. As you can see, I've gone for a lovely green there because I want to keep a green theme, because this is a green t-shirt, and these are larger flowers that are being introduced today. And here is the next colour, and you see everything is being held very nicely in place, and I haven't got to rescue the t-shirt. I could have left the room, but obviously I won't. Oh, that looks good. I like all the different greens. So as you can see, we're doing the little half flowers. Now here's our embroidery so far. Now the next bit we're going to fill in these flowers, but they do have a centre as well. So I'm just trying to work out, I'm going to go for a dark green, but sometimes you don't really know what's going to work unless you try it. Yeah, what do you think of that? Now normally I would do the outside of big flowers in the darker colour and go make it lighter as I went in, but in nature that's not the way things are. I made a mistake there. I threaded the needle right near this magnet and it may have knocked everything out of alignment, so I'm going to take the hoop off and realign everything. Even if you think things are probably okay, it's not worth the risk. It's always better to take your embroidery off, move your and recalibrate the embroidery unit with the slightest knock. And when you've taken the hoop off and everything, just have a good look at everything and make sure that nothing's caught underneath. Check all four corners of your t-shirt. Right. I decided to make those leaves a nice light colour so that there was some contrast, which I felt was important. Let's see what stitches out next. Right, well that's the design, apart from the last colour, which are all the gold centres, and I think I'll stay with gold for that. Right, the design is finished, and I think that was a success. Well, it looks a success. Yeah, the colours are okay. It probably could have gone up a little bit higher, but I wanted, for my first attempt on, I didn't want to get too near the binding of the top. So I'm going to take it off and we're going to have a good look at it and take all the stabiliser over at my table. Right, the first thing I'll do is remove these magnets. I was very apprehensive about using magnets near my machine, but considering they're made by my machine manufacturer, I thought, well, I haven't really got anything to worry about. It's just a bit weird. Right. First of all, we're going to turn it over. It's always good to see the back of an embroidery. And I'm going to trim away some of these threads. I've trimmed most of them away. I'm going to get my ripper and just remove this box of basting stitches. think the best way, so that I don't put any strain on the embroidery up there in the top corners. It comes away quite nicely. It's just being a bit, this bit here, then around the top. Ah, there we go. Now, so you can get stabilisers, especially if you're doing embroidery on onesies and t-shirts for children, so that the embroidery doesn't irritate. But I don't think this will bother me. Right, one more bit there. It's very sticky, this stuff. Quite difficult to pull away. It certainly doesn't want to pull away in some places. Yeah, there we are. Right, I'm going to turn it the right way round. This is the moment of truth when you lay it down in front and think, oh dear, it's not straight. And this literally will just pull off because it's been, the stitches have cut into it. But you will get little pieces left, and there are several ways to remove this, but I do it, oh no, I do it with this. It's a stitch ripper, but it has a nice rubber end. I've seen people use tennis balls and wrapped up with, can't remember what they wrap them up in, but and this will, you just rub it away with the, we can use this one, you can use either end. Right, now we have a tiny bit of thread sticking up there, which I shall trim away. Well, what do you think? There's our mark. That was the centre, and the centre line is coming down here, so that's the line that I mark, so it's not bad. I just got to get rid of those lines and give it a good press, and make sure there's no plastic there between the flowers. I hope you found that interesting. A little bit more of a challenge, something different. And I don't know what you, whoops, gone too far. I don't know what you think of this colour scheme. I was a little bit worried that I shouldn't have put the apricot on, but I think it needed some contrast. And if I'm happy with it, then perhaps you'll see me wearing it soon. So that is the next daily freebie and a way to use it. Thank you for watching. And if you're not a member of the Graceful Embroidery Group Forum and you would like to collect these 36 plus daily freebies, then go to Graceful Embroidery and you'll see a forum tab, and click on there and follow the instructions to join. Happy embroidering, thanks for watching. Do leave your comments. I'd love to hear what you think of this colour scheme. Bye for now, until next time.